welcome to my channel. Today we're starting with my series that I started a couple of years ago at the beginning of my channel, but that I'm going to pick up right now, which is the chopping block series. So about half a year ago I did a giant declutter. I didn't do it on YouTube, but I did it on TikTok and Instagram, and I decluttered everything that wasn't good anymore, that I really didn't like anymore. I gave a lot of stuff of that away. I also had to throw away a couple of things, and I set a couple of things apart, actually quite a bit of things, a box full of things that I still had to figure out, that I had to test out again, maybe even a couple of times, and see if I actually wanted to keep it or not. And for today we're going to dig into that box. So I tried to select something in every category from that box. I also picked a foundation from my regular foundation collection that I just wanted to figure out again and see what it was like. So that's what we're doing today. I have a nice variety here of all kinds of drugstore and high-end options. Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a little trip down memory lane for some of you. And maybe some of these things are actually a little bit more recent, but I still want to figure them out. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Cecile. I live in the Netherlands and I upload videos twice a week on makeup and fashion related content. I'm also on Instagram and TikTok if you'd like to follow me over there. I'll link it in the description box. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say. So let's just hop right into it. So usually I would start with a very heavy brow gel, but I don't really have that for today. So we're just going to do my brows after foundation because I actually do prefer that. So anyway, let's jump right into eyes. I'll, of course, zoom you in a little bit. And I wanted to start by using one of these 5 eye bases. I know, why are these in the box? Well, I didn't have the best experience with these. I think I bought them last summer, so quite recently. And they're from Revolution, Makeup Revolution. And they have these wonderful colors, and I think they're supposed to be P. Louise dupes. But some of them just weren't very pigmented and didn't work really well. And others stained my eyes, and I just never ended up using them again. Maybe they're actually 1.5 years old. I'm not entirely sure at this point. Anyway, I never gave them a second shot. I'm just going to pick one of these colors. And for my eyeshadow palette of choice, I have this one from Urban Decay, the Stoned Vibes palette. I know, the packaging is beautiful, and for packaging alone I would love to keep it, but this is what it looks like. And I feel like when I put this in a box, I just didn't really use this anymore, and I saw a lot of other people decluttering it. And I know the reviews on this one weren't very good. I actually am not sure what I thought of it. And now that I'm into a little bit more ethereal, lighter looks from time to time, I feel like I could get down with this palette again. So we're going to dig into the blues because I am wearing, of course, a blue sweater. So I have a feeling this one can stay, but at any rate, I do need to give it another shot. So let's just hop right into the blue eyeshadow base then. As you can see, it's separated a little bit, but I'm sure it's still fine. And if I remember correctly, this was the one that stained quite a bit. So I put this amount on my finger, and I'm just going to use this as my eyeshadow primer actually. So this was one of the more pigmented ones. Aha! They're actually a little thicker than I remember, and I definitely put on a little bit too much, but that's okay. I'm just using a different finger now to blend it out. I'm the avatar. Let's clean up around my eyes a little bit. So I already see that I should have used a lot less, and that maybe I should apply these with a brush. But actually they look kind of pretty. So I feel like this one still has a little bit too much, so I'm going to spread that out a little bit more. So I did stain my fingers a little bit, but this is what we're looking like. Yeah, so next time I'll use these with a brush, but this actually doesn't look that bad. It's a nice consistency. It's not like a concealer. It did dry down a little bit more than a concealer would. And it's not that opaque. I think that's what my issue with it was. I tried to use it as a cut crease and use nothing on top, and that just doesn't work. I think you really have to use them as an eye base. So now let's go into the Urban Decay palette. I'm taking this small shader brush. I'm not really sure what it is, but it's nice and small. And I'm going into Third Eye, which is the deepest shade. I'm just going to deepen up the outer corner. I would usually be quite content with just putting one of these shimmers on, but I want to see how the other shades perform as well. So this looks nice. Looks good on top of that eyeshadow base. It's more of a satin shade, but I like it. I love the way a little bit of blue from the eyeshadow base pops out. So I just used one shade and one brush, and I actually really like the way this is looking at the moment. I'll also put a little bit right here, as I always do, underneath the lower lash line. Alright, I like it. So I'm just cleaning off that brush a little bit. I really like this brush. It has very coarse bristles and it's a nice dense but still fluffy shape. I really like it. So let's go into Ojo Eye, if I'm not mistaken. Just putting this quite heavily on this brush, and I'm going to put it right here in the center of my eye. I think when I bought this palette, it must have been about 2.5 years ago, I was really into very metallic and very opaque shades with lots of different matte color options. And right now, I still like that, but I like the sparkly shadows more than anything. And this is giving me exactly what I want right now. It's opaque enough, you can definitely see it's blue, but there's lots of sparkles in different colors, and it blends beautifully into that deeper shade. So cleaning off the brush on my hand again, and I'm going into Opal Aura, which is the paler blue shade. Also something that I didn't appreciate enough when I used this the first couple of times is that I really like a bright inner corner. Specifically one in blue or yellow. And this palette has it. It has this beautiful silvery blue inner corner shade. And it looks quite nice on top of the Makeup Revolution eye base as well. Alright, this is a definite keep. Let me just finish the look up. I'll put a little bit of that shade underneath. So this is all I'm going to do with the eyeshadows. We only use 3, but I really like it. Honestly, I really do. I was worried that it wouldn't be sparkly enough or intense enough, but I feel like it is. Created a nice look. So we're going to keep this one. And I think we're also going to keep this one. The other 4 shades of these, I'll just keep trying them. Maybe not all on camera, but I know there are inconsistencies with this one, so you'll see them around. But the first 2 items are keep. Then I have one that's a little bit sad, but I had to throw it in there because I feel like this one has dried out. This is my blue eye pencil liner from YSL. From Paris actually, which I really like. And I threw it in the box because I couldn't get myself to throw it away, because I figured maybe I can still sharpen it and it'll still work. So that's what we're doing today. We're seeing if it's sharpenable. So I think I sharpened off every old piece of liner. Let's see. Oh, that actually looks pretty good. Yeah, that still works. I don't think it works really well in the waterline. Also, my waterline is a little bit wet. I'll try it up here. See, I do really like this color. It's a nice, almost purpley blue, and it's not too dark and not too light. The thing is it's just not working. It's only working on my hand. On my waterline, it's just not working as intensely, even though, yeah, actually when I look in the viewfinder, it did work. Yeah, so I think it works. It's just that it doesn't really work in the waterline. It's more that it works to smudge between my lashes, which I still like. So I'll try to use it up like that, but unfortunately it's not creamy enough. Then I also put a mascara in the box, and I tend to use up all my mascaras. I don't really buy a lot of them. But for some reason this ended up being in the box, so we're trying it today. This is the Essence All Eyes on Me Waterproof Mascara. Oh, I think the deal with this one was that I never really used it. I got it from someone else. And that I just had to see if it was still working or not. Which I don't think it does. Yeah, it looks dry as well. No, this one has to go. It's just too old, it's dried out. Let me just use my Catrice Lift Up Waterproof Power Hold, whatever the name is, mascara. This one is actually nearing the end of its life as well, but it got the job done. I really like the eye look. Now to finish the eye look up, I actually threw a pair of lashes in the box as well. I've had my doubts on these ever since I bought them. I think they were 70% off at Ici Paris. And I didn't really wear lashes at the time, but I thought this could be good. So they're the Urban Decay Urban Lash in Bohème. This is what they look like. And I did try them, but I wasn't really sure how I felt about them. So we're just going to try them again. I'll give them a good chance and I'll use my nice eyelash glue for them. This is the one from Queen Tarzi. All right, here goes nothing. Alright, so they applied pretty easily and I actually kind of like them. I remembered them not really showing up, but that's actually the kind of lash style that I like nowadays. I like it to be an accentuation of my natural lashes, but not something that reaches my eyebrows. So I think I get the point of them now. And they did apply very easily. So they're a keep. I am getting a lot of glitter fallout from that eyeshadow. So maybe I will use a glitter primer next time I use it. Just so you know. Alright, we already spent almost half an hour on these eyes. Even though I really love them. So now let's jump right into the face products. So for the face, maybe I'll zoom you out just a tad. I want to start with this NYX High Gloss Face Primer, because at the point that I bought this, and this is a general theme in this video, it's either old or it's just not what I was into a couple of years ago. So, and oftentimes I am into that now. So one of those things is a glowy base, especially a very glowy primer. But I also remember this one being a little bit dark, but we shall see. So this is what it looks like. That doesn't look too dark at all. I think the shade of this is Moonbeam. Not sure if I should apply this with a blue finger, but oh well. That looks really pretty. I wonder what the problem with this was. Maybe it just didn't combine well with my foundations. So yeah, this is nice. So for foundation, I picked out this one. This is the Facefinity All Day Flawless Flexi Hold 3-in-1 Primer Concealer Foundation from Max Factor. I think I tried this about 2 years ago. And I remember really liking it. And then about a year later trying it again and not liking it so much. And then I just stopped using it. But now that I'm trying to finish up most of my older foundations, I feel like I should give it another try. So I have this in the shade 30 Porcelain, which is probably alright. Looks good. I think this one just sort of transforms with whatever type of primer you put underneath. So I think I liked it at first because it was so natural and even a little bit glowy. And then I disliked it because it looks so dry and matte. So now that I have the very glowy NYX primer underneath, let's see what you think. I think the shade is pretty good. A little bit too pink maybe, but perfectly fine. I like the coverage, it's sort of medium. And at this point I like the finish too, even though it is indeed a little bit matte. It has that typical drugstore foundation smell, a little bit fresh but not really perfumey. So I feel like it's still good. It performs well. This is what it looks like. I mean, with this primer, of course, it looks a little bit more glowy. Alright, I think this is another keep. Alright, let's move into a concealer. And I picked out this one. I had a couple of options from the drugstore. And this one is from Essence. It's the Camouflage Plus Matte Concealer. And I think my problem with both the Essence concealers and the one from Catrice that was in the box was that they're not really a lot of coverage, and at the time I really wanted it to be. So I got confused by the name. Yeah, I think it still smells fine. So if you just keep in mind that it's probably not as high coverage as they're claiming, then I'm sure it's perfectly fine, but we're going to test that out today. So I'm just putting, it's a very thin formula. I think the shade is okay, it's maybe a little bit deep. But I do like keeping a couple of deeper concealers for when I don't use foundation, so I can just spot conceal. I'm just going to leave that there and we're going to move into the brows. Now I have something very special here. And I don't think this is going to stay here, but I need to try it out. So this is the very old Christian Dior eyebrow pencil. And honestly, yes, technically it's expired, but I don't really break out easily, not from makeup products, and it's a brow pencil. So I'm not going to complain. I'm just going to try and see if it still works. So I just want to see, I scraped off or I peeled off the old part, and this is the color. So I just wanted to see if the color would work for me. It may be a little bit too warm and a little bit dark, but we're going to give it a try. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit red, but the pencil is really nice. It's that sort of powder pencil feeling. Doesn't look too bad. Okay, there's the little brush at the end, so I'm just going to brush it out. Alright, on camera I don't think it looks too bad, but in real life it definitely looks a little bit orange. But I'll go over the edges a little bit with my foundation brush. And then it's actually not that bad. It's just that the parts where I blended it out a little bit too much and it touched my skin, that's where it becomes a little bit red. But I honestly don't hate this pencil. I think I can use this up. And I do really love the way this pencil feels. So maybe once I finish this up, I'll buy a new Dior pencil. Because I do really like Dior products. So I think I let the concealer sit long enough. I'm just taking my regular foundation brush. And I'm going to blend this out. So my technique is that I blend out the big parts with a brush, and then I go in with my finger to lightly tap wherever it meets the eyeshadow. And then with another clean finger I usually make sure there's no excess product. What do you think? It's not bad. I think this will be a good concealer for when I'm not wearing foundation. At the moment I use my Chanel Le Correcteur for that reason, but it's a little bit matte and it's almost out. So I think this will be my travel product for in the train. So we're doing pretty good. I think I only decluttered one thing so far. Alright, do we still have energy? Because I still have a couple of things to try. So let's jump into some powder. Yes, I'm going to use only powder products from now on. Is that true? No, that's not true. I want to use a liquid blush. This is the Super Dewy liquid blush from Revolution in the shade Fortunately Flushed. And at first I really loved this, but the second time I tried it, I thought it was just a little bit too light for me. So today will be the deciding day. Okay, it's already having a little bit of difficulty coming out. I put it in my hand like this. Oh, I think this is dried out. Or hasn't it? It's definitely really thick. It still smells fine though. But I have the feeling it's not supposed to be this thick. Yeah, I'm still going to try it. So I have a little bit of this very thick cream on my left hand. And the first thing you should know about these products, I have a couple of shades actually, and I really like the other shades, that it's more of a matte product. It's not very dewy at all. But I feel like this is one of the only blushes that I own that actually stays this really nice light pastel pink on me. The thing is, it's so light that it's almost an eye brightener instead of a blush. But I say almost because it does give me a little bit of that fresh light pink color. And I think now that we have this light pink blush Craze. I feel like I can get some use out of this. So it's not perfect and it's definitely a little bit thick, but it's still usable. And I'm not sure if you can see it on camera, but in real life, I can definitely see a little bit of brightness on my cheeks at the moment. So we're going to put this with my liquid blushes. Now we're going to set with some powder. I have an interesting one here. And I think I'm going to keep it because I go through powder quick enough anyway. But this is the Glam of Sweden Perfect Finish powder. My local drugstore had this brand and I own a couple of things from them. And this is one of them. And if I remember, this is a quite white powder and it's quite pigmented, but we're just going to give it a try. I am very fair, so we should be all right. I'm going to take my powder brush, and this is a very cheap brand. Let me add that. I'm not sure if it's sold in America or other places as well, but it's really like, this powder was like €2 or something. So I know it's not going to be the best powder, but who knows? I did try it out once, and apparently for some reason I didn't feel the need to keep using it. So that's why it's in here. What do we think? I'm actually not sure how I feel about this. It looks a little bit gray, and then also it didn't really set down my concealer. This one still feels a little bit wet. And in retrospect, I don't really like the blush either. I'm not sure if you can see it, but on my nose it's sort of gathered. It's just too thick and too old, and I think it's dried out. So I'm sorry, the blush is going to go, but I do like this color, and the other ones are still fine. I don't think this is that old, but I mean, you saw how hard I had to squeeze to get something out. I'm just fooling myself. This will have to go. And if I'm going to be a little bit more strict with myself, and with this powder, I'll add a little bit more, but I think this one is going to go as well. Oh wait, I used a little bit more. And now my concealer did set down. It's just that I think it sort of removed a little bit of that concealer. What do we think? I need your help with this one. Does it look blue? I feel like it looks a little bit gray or blue. Yeah, I don't really love the brightening that it did, but I'm going to give it a second chance because I did use that weird blush and I also used a concealer that I wasn't sure about. So this one can remain a little bit longer so I can try it out. I know that's a little bit boring, but so we're just going to move straight into bronzer. And for bronzer I have something special because this is actually the first bronzer that I ever bought. It must have been about 6 years ago, and I put it to the side at some point, wasn't really into it anymore, but then I got back into makeup again and I forgot I had this. So we're going to give this a try, and it could be that it's still really good. I know they still sell this. This is from Clinique. It's the True Bronze in number 2 Sunkissed. So it could be a little bit deep for me as well. So I'm taking my giant bronzer brush. It's a little bit of a shimmery bronzer as well. Oh! My. I think this looks really pretty. I can't believe I didn't trust this bronzer anymore. Look, it's quite pretty. It's not as deep as I was fearing. It has a little bit of a glow. The shade isn't bad at all. I mean, it looks a little bit weird right here, but that's because of the blush. Yeah, I think that blush is a definite no. But this bronzer may be one of the best things that I tried today. So we're keeping it. Just going to accentuate my blush a little bit using this blush trio. I think this is still good. I just wanted to test, this is also one of my older blushes. I just wanted to test if the pigmentation was still there. And also this is that beautiful pale pink shade. A lot of these products I bought before I actually knew what I liked and how makeup was supposed to be used. Or at least how I could use it. Also, I often didn't have the proper brushes yet. Because look how beautiful this is. What I did not realize the first couple of times I used this, and I used it quite a bit, is that it's more of a glowy blush. And it's almost impossible to just get one of the 3 shades. I pretty much mixed this one and this one right now. But I like this. This can stay as well. So now I have something that I'm a little bit afraid of. I have this highlighter from Too Faced. I really wanted this and I used it a lot, but that was a couple of years ago when I was first getting into makeup again and using a full face. And this is the highlighter. And it's a beautiful multi-dimensional highlighter, but I felt like at some point it just started to look a little bit gray on me. And I feel like that's exactly what it's going to do right now. So I have a highlighter from Lethal Cosmetics that looks quite similar to this, but that's actually a multi-chrome. So it doesn't look gray, it just looks all these colors in different angles. But this one is not a multi-chrome, this is just a swirl of all these different colors. So I'm very surprised if this actually looks pretty. And if not, I'm going to have to say goodbye to it. It's just the way it is. So I have my trusty ABH highlighting brush. Let's pray. Huh, is it me? Or is that actually kind of pretty? I mean, it's very cool toned, it's almost blue, but I don't hate it. And the shine is kind of pretty too. I'm not going to go overboard, I'm going to keep it like this. Oh, what a nice discovery! I feel like I can use this. I mean, not to class or anything, but I mean at home or whatever. It's nice, yeah. I'm pleasantly surprised. I was actually afraid of using this for about a year, but I'm glad to say that it can stay. We're almost there. Just popping a little bit of brow gel in my brows. This is the NYX Control Freak, and this just hardly had any control. And I know I have pretty stubborn brows. I think they're just very slick, so they don't really grab onto product that well. But I mean, it has to do something. So that's the question. Is it doing anything? I mean, I need brow gels for a little bit more casual brow days too. Yeah, it's actually not bad. It will definitely not keep my hairs more upright than this, but it did sort of put them all in a nice outwards direction. So that's okay, I'll keep using this. And then for lip product, I selected 3 things because I wasn't sure what I wanted to use. So I have this one from Maybelline, the Vivid Hot Lacquer, in this very deep shade. That could be fun. I also have this Lancome liquid lipstick in a more subtle pink shade. I just wanted to test if this one was opaque enough. And then the other one from Lancome I have is this more burgundy shade, which would really nicely match one of these eyeshadows. Shall we go for this one? I think we will. I never really loved this formula because I feel like it never spread evenly. And I also hardly ever wear this dark burgundy color anymore. Okay, so keep in mind that I did not use a lip liner. What do you think? I actually think it's really pretty. It's a little bit goth, but I mean, this would have been nice as well. But I like this too. It actually feels pretty good. I don't think they make these anymore, but they're really nice, sort of almost opaque liquid lipstick that doesn't fully dry down. So those are the 2 aspects that I didn't like. But on the other hand, they're very comfortable and they keep their shine. I actually really like this. Ah, what a discovery. So what do we think of this look? This is it, all the products that I almost decluttered but wanted to give a second chance. In the end, I think we only decluttered 2.5 things. So I'm definitely decluttering the mascara, it's dried up, and the super dewy blush because the shade wasn't perfect and the formula had definitely gone bad. And then this powder is in limbo. I don't love it right now, especially with such a bright highlighter. It just looks very gray to me, but honestly it could be the concealer. Usually with a lighter coverage concealer and in a darker tone, I would definitely use a powder foundation that's a little bit darker than white. So yeah, that's my verdict. All the other things I think can stay. Honestly, this look is pretty nice. I think so, at least. So thank you so much for watching. This is probably a long video, so I really appreciate your support. Subscribe if you liked the video, and I'll see you Sunday. Hi, I just wanted to give a little update. As you can see, I did change my lipstick. I didn't really like it. My boyfriend came home and he was like, ugh, what's that? And in hindsight, I didn't really like it either. It was too dark for me, and it was just a blotchy formula. I knew this, but you see, those are more expensive things. I want to give more chances than they actually deserve. So I put on my Max Factor nude lipstick with a nice ABH lip gloss on top, and I feel a lot better. I just wanted to add that this lipstick is going to be decluttered. And then also the highlight, in some lightings it actually does look a little bit more blue, but as you can see in this lighting, it just looks gray. I don't like it. I don't like the way it looks on me. I like my multichrome highlighter from Lethal Cosmetics a lot more. So I'm also going to declutter this one. Both of them are going in the trash because they're really, really old and I don't want to burden them on anyone. So yeah, I like this look a lot more with this lipstick. As you can see, the eyeshadow is indeed very pretty in this lighting too. So I just wanted to give that little update. Bye.